I wanted to, first of all, at the outset, thank you all for being here. And the last I met you as a group, some of you may not be there, some of you may be still there, was perhaps last year. And my colleagues from Trade and Investment Shop have been briefing me on the good work that you people have been doing. So with this little personal remark, I wanted to really turn to my more substantive points that I had. So first of all, let me welcome our chair, Datuk Mohammad Iqbal Rotter, and vice chair, Mr. Shote Sopanich, and other distinguished business leaders here. I believe this is your 9th ESCAP Business Advisory Council meeting. So obviously, I'm sure you've gone through a process of maturity in terms of, developing your agenda. I want to, as I said, thank you for all the services that you have been offering through this council. In May last year, we suggested 3 priorities for Asia Pacific ESCAP Business Advisory Council, and one of them was recruiting a wider range of Asia Pacific business leaders to deepen ESCAP's engagement with the region's corporate sector. And this is not to undermine the size of the smaller or the medium entities, but also to kind of think through on how can we really blend the small, medium, and the large corporate sector's perspective. Second is raising awareness of the mechanisms and modalities for promoting sustainable development. And I'm just coming from a session of environment ministers where a lot of debate has taken place on the need for taking an integrated view of economic, social, and businesses. And third is spearheading private sector resource mobilization efforts for sustainable development across the region. And I can share with you in my previous remarks that I had at the Ministers of Environment session, I said it's really finance that will drive the and drive the results and action in sustainable development, as I see. I'm very pleased that progress has indeed been made on many fronts. ESCAP and our development partners have convened a large number of high-level consultations and deliberations to define Asia Pacific's regional priorities for sustainable development. We just had last month, 29th and 30th, Financing for Development session in Jakarta, co-hosted by the Finance Minister of Indonesia. And to ensure, what we are trying to do is to make sure that these consultations that we are having are eventually reflected and influence the decisions at the global negotiation level on post-2015 development agenda. In these consultations, there have been, of course, calls for private finance to support implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, enhance financial inclusion, promote financial innovation, and expand both trade and SME finance to achieve inclusive, resilient, and sustainable development in the region. The Asia Pacific Business Forum and the 8 task forces of Sustainable Business Network have helped develop, I believe, one internet-based business platform, new approaches to business financing for development as well as for disaster risk management, technical programs to boost the capacity of government officials and businesses, improved trade and transport business system which have boosted regional integration, programs such as the one which has seen thousands of solar lights delivered to the benefit of disadvantageous rural people. And finally, policy guidebooks, for instance, our handbook on sustainable banking, and which uses Asia-Pacific examples to demonstrate how the principles of responsible banking can be applied. Going beyond these notable results, the task forces need to be further focused to support green businesses, decent jobs, innovation, social and environmental action. So your participation in this regional conference on aligning corporate sustainability with SDGs that is organized for tomorrow by ESCAP in collaboration with OECD, the Global Reporting Initiative, and of course your presence will be very valuable. The conference will focus on what the SDGs will mean for business and how business sustainability and its strategies can be aligned to support their implementation. Your business perspective that we are hopefully able to collate should be able to influence or fed into the deliberations of the Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, which will be held really on Thursday and Friday. So I very much look forward to my colleagues pulling together the notes quickly tomorrow night so that I can reflect that in my statement to the Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, which is the larger intergovernmental platform, where there is, by the way, not only senior officials from various governments, but we also have civil society as well as private sector there. So I think it would be good to have, and I do hope that some of you can stay back to join that meeting. We look to the work of the EBAC in the year ahead during this critical period for global and regional development. There are a number of key issues on which we would appreciate receiving your perspectives and support. One, enhancing the role of Asia-Pacific business in achieving sustainable development, especially through the Sustainable Development Goals and their associated targets. We are likely to be mandated in a stronger way by the General Assembly in September to play a much more significant role in trying to get the businesses to work with us on the Sustainable Development Goals. But we also are responsible for the monitoring and review of the Sustainable Development Goals. So we will be inviting the business community at large from Asia Pacific. Second, I think it would be useful to work out the tools, strategies, as well as the tools to improve corporate sustainability. And there are techniques out there, and there's a lot that can be done to develop indicators and then request companies to fill out, to of course adopt sustainable development strategies, but also to indicate their performance against the various indices that can then be collated into a comprehensive index at the end of the day, and we will be definitely working towards that going forward. Third, it would be good to bring out a collation of practical examples of responsible and inclusive business initiatives from Asia Pacific so that we could have more cross-fertilization of good practices of the companies. Fourth, how to effectively link SDGs to existing initiatives and instruments to advance corporate sustainability and responsible business practices such as the Sustainable Business Network and the United Nations Global Compact. I had the occasion to meet up with Global Compact country offices in some of in Pakistan and India, and I was very impressed by the work that Global Compact Network is doing, and it would be quite good to look at how one can reinforce that. 5 private sector initiatives to coordinate advocacy and action consistent with, of course, sustainable development messages and capacities of EBAC. Finally, but most importantly, working with finance industry to analyze development finance and sustainable technologies for people. And in this context, I wanted to just mention that yesterday there was an event that a couple of UN agencies had coordinated with the stock markets of Thailand, stock market of Thailand. And since that's an area in which I have worked a lot from a policy, legal, and regulatory framework, I can see tremendous amount of benefit of having an alliance with them. So I just wanted to share with you that we plan to, through our financing for development work, try to get the bankers as well as the securities regulators to adopt some kind of regulatory framework for assessing the companies moving towards sustainable development, so that we have a very institutionalized mechanism to doing so. In my own work, I have worked more on corporate governance, strengthening the corporate governance of a number of Asian economies through the securities regulatory bodies. And that pays very high dividends, as I see. So expanding that would be quite critical. As you agree on your action plans for the year ahead, please let us know how the Secretariat can facilitate your work with us even further. Our partnerships with business are crucial for every single area of sustainable development as we work for a more open, vibrant, prosperous, inclusive, and business-friendly region. Together, we can clearly achieve better results on the sustainable development goals. So before concluding, I would like to express my appreciation to Ms. Barbara Maynard, Chair of the EBAC Task Force on Digital Economy, who will kindly, I believe, host a dinner reception for all of us at the British Club this evening. So my biggest challenge is a very short-term and an immediate one, which is whether I can manage to be there or not, has yet to be seen, because there is a line of meetings already, requests that I have received from some of the delegates that are in the premises here. So, but let's be an optimist, and I hope that I can be there. I now have the pleasure to request Chairman of EBAC to make his opening remarks. Thank you, Mr. Chair.